All right, in studio we have Janelle. Welcome.
Thank
Glad
you.
to have you here. Why don't you tell everybody about who you are and what you do?
I'm Janelle Nagy. I'm the founder and the director of the Piggyback Foundation of Youngstown. We're a local charity, 100% local. Um, we are completely volunteer based. We don't have a brick and mortar store, so you won't find like an office anywhere. We meet as a board at restaurants, at their homes, what have you. But our mission is to provide quality of life measures for any family that is experiencing life-threatening illness. It doesn't necessarily have to be terminal, but it does have to be life-threatening in some way. And by any family, I mean whether it's a child that's sick in the family, whether mom and dad have cancer. The thing that sets us apart is that we adopt the family for a year. In order to be adopted, a family will fill out an application. There's a small doctor's note that has to be included just as evidence, and they submit it to the board. We review it. I have a lot of nurses on my board that check it out and kind of decipher.
Legit.
Yeah, they do that, and they decipher exactly what the medical terminology is for the diagnosis. And so we adopt them for a year. Well, the technical term is a year. We just usually keep them for the duration of the illness, whatever they need to get through. So cancer treatments are often years on end. We've had ALS patients that just go for years on end. But by adopting the family, we become like a reliable source of respite. So, it's not like hey, you need winter boots, here's your boots, check you in 5 years. It's, hey, you have this need, and before you spend 48 hours stressing about it or worrying yourself to death about it, call us and we'll just handle it. You don't have to think about it again.
So how did you get involved? Do you have a personal story? Do you have a personal connection into this world?
So I'm the founder for Piggyback Youngstown. There's a Piggyback Foundation in Norwalk. I used to live out there.
Okay.
And I got involved there. I was on the board and I loved it. I loved the mission. I had worked for years for the American Cancer Society, and I just knew the importance of quality of life measures, no matter, how much it affects an entire family when there is, any kind of serious illness. It was cancer when I worked for ACS, but any kind of serious illness, it affects the entire family. If there's one sibling is sick, the other siblings, they no longer have mom and dad's attention to check their homework or get the reason it got started in Norwalk was the founder, her name is Lisa Heiler. She was a teacher, and she noticed one of her students was performing poorly, and he was been a great student, and she found out dad was sick. So she started taking him, getting him rides to his karate and things like that. And so that's something that we do now. But I lived in Norwalk, and then when we moved here, I had said to Lisa, I love this mission. I'm brokenhearted to leave it. And she said, you have a background in nonprofit. Go start one. And I was like, you're joking? And she's like, no, do it. I've always wanted to franchise more or less. And so we did, and I told her I'm going to take the name. Is that okay? She said, yeah. So I spent a year making friends, kind of being creepy at noticing who would be a good board member, who was, amenable to that kind of thing. And I did. And then one day I got all the stuff together and took some friends out for dinner and said, this is what I want to do. We went. That was 7 years ago, 2016. So we've been at it for a little while.
Now, are you the sole benefactor, or do you do fundraisers, or how do you get...
We do a lot of fundraisers. We try to keep it really grassroots. We don't have any grants. We don't have government funding. And like I said, that nobody on the board takes a paycheck of any kind. Everything we do goes right back into the community, 100%. We do our big fundraisers coming up. It's Chocolate Fest. It's on May 11th at the Embassy. And Chocolate Fest, this is our 6th year, would have been our 7th. It started in 2016. I don't know. I can't do math. We would have been one more year, but we had to take a break for COVID. But Chocolate Fest is the kind of thing that gets us through the year. And then we do some other events in the summertime. This fall, I think we're gonna try to do something that's a little bit more like a bonfire with maybe some bourbon. You and I were talking about bourbon, yeah. Bourbon seems to be big now, and I'm right on board for that. Truth be told, and then we have donors that are regular donors, and we do other things. And also, Magic Tree has been so kind. They started throwing a really big St. Patrick's Day party, and any alcohol that's sold outside at a like a established bar has to benefit a charity. So Piggyback volunteers get to bartend on St. Patrick's Day out at 10. Yeah, we make a lot of money. Like drinking for the kids, like it's drink for a good cause.
Yes.
So,
And Magic Tree is off the hook.
yeah, Magic Tree
Off
was,
the hook.
and this last year was perfect weather. 2022 was perfect weather. We made a lot of money,
Nice.
and it was all for a good cause. I was like, drink up, boys, because it's a good cause. So Magic Tree has always been good to us. Rudy has always been really good to us, and we'll be doing that again this year. So if anybody's going drinking on St. Patrick's Day, come out to Magic Tree and drink for a good cause.
Beautiful. So have you always been in the nonprofit world? Have you done?
I feel like I fell into it, but yeah, I have kind of always been it. I'm a real estate agent by practice with Dandelion Properties, but my whole life I just kind of went into grad school, started volunteering in Boston, and then just learned to love it, and then took my first job with American Cancer Society, did that for a number of years. Was a stay-at-home mom, could not stay at home. I had to do something.
Yep.
Got really involved in a lot of charities, and then when this opportunity came up to start my own, I said, let's go. So, and I had some friends with me, and
Yeah,
this
I
is-
love when good people get involved in stuff
Yeah.
like this, where you just throw your heart and soul behind
Yes,
something that's in
that's
such
true.
a big need.
Yes, it is. And it is a need that is completely unfulfilled. There's a ton of services for like the actual patients, art services, art therapy and yoga and all the things, which is wonderful. But like the mothers, one mother said to me, she had a young son that had cancer, and the oldest son was gifted. He was in a gifted program. And I guess this gifted program, I think it's Cheney High School, has a black tie gala. And he had to have a tuxedo rented, and it was like $99 or something. But when you have cancer bills and cancer meds to pay for, $99 is, and you have a lot of children, $99 is, well, to me, a lot of children is anything more than two. But anyway, $99 is a lot. And so she got word that she needed to rent this tuxedo. And she just called me right away and was like, she's like, I'll pay you back. Is there anything? And I was like, I couldn't get to the tuxedo place fast enough to put the deposit down and said, whatever you need. Yeah. So that she didn't have to worry about it all weekend, because her kid had just had chemo 2 days before. He was going to be sick all weekend. She didn't need to worry about that.
Right.
And in my board, I have stepped away from being a liaison now. I'm more running the show, like the fundraising and things, but my board, when we adopt a family, somebody says, I'll be their liaison, and they get to know them. And just like, for example, this weekend, there was a young lady going down to Cincinnati for some cancer treatment. And my board member called me up and said, can I, she's trying to anticipate what would be good for them. She's like, can I get them gift cards for Chick-fil-A and some gas cards? And, is there anything that we can do? And so there's also been times when board members call me up and say, hey, my family has just had a rough week. This kid's been sick and they're going through treatment, and, mom's job was trash this week. The boss was a jerk. So they'll say, hey, can we go, do you mind if I grab some pizza gift cards and a movie gift card, and they can take the night off and just go to a movie as a family? And now they just do it on their own, but the anticipatory help is something that makes us different from everybody else too. Just, we're there when we don't even have to be asked to. And I love that about my board.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're good
So
people.
what is, you got some stories for us of maybe your prototype, your by the book kind of example?
There is no prototype, but I do have some. I mean, I could talk all day about stories.
Share.
My favorite ones are sending, anytime we have a child that goes through cancer, we've had quite a few beat it, which is wonderful, especially like leukemias and stuff that are relatively treatable, thank you God. So we send a limo to pick them up the day they get their port out, because that's when they've done the last scans and they know the cancer is done. So the day they get the port out, we like to send a limo to the child. And the very first time we did it, I'll never forget. We send the limo. The kid thought he was going to school, so we went outside like as if we were waiting for the bus, and I had just stopped by. And he thinks the bus is coming, and all of a sudden this big white limo comes down the street, and his mom surprised him and said, Landon, your port's coming out today. You're done with cancer. And and he was like, really? Because he didn't know, he knew it was happening. He knew he was done. He didn't know he was done that day. And so he sees this limo, and we snapped the pictures of him seeing the limo, and we filled the limo with balloons and snacks and stuff. And one of my favorite stories from that day is actually the mother. I had said to her, we're leaving early in the morning. You need a mimosa on the way there. I mean, travel in style.
Sure.
And she said to me, what's a mimosa?
Really?
And like for all the services we did to the kids, this is my favorite part was the mother. She's like, "What's a mimosa?" And I was like, "What's a mimosa?"
You got to provide the first mimosa?
Yeah. And she was already emotional, with her kid and all that. And so I hand her this mimosa. She gets in and she takes a sip, and she was not a crier. She's the strongest woman I think I've ever met through everything she went through. And she takes the sip of this mimosa and like bursts into tears and is like, "It's so good." And I was like,
That's so cool.
yeah. We've done that. We've helped families with, going to lots of, Kalahari weekends and stuff. We had a girl in Columbiana County that was like a trumpet prodigy, randomly.
Okay.
And she needed to upgrade her trumpet to continue on with her education. She was in high school and she knew she was going to college for trumpet. So we were able to, I had to call in a helper a friend of mine who is into music. And she told me how to get a trumpet, like get my hands on a trumpet that was advanced. So we've done all those kinds of things. Lots and lots of t-ball, soccer, little girl dance classes, signing them up for that. During COVID, we were able to do family photographs outside for all the families. And I think actually we'll repeat that because those were really meaningful. Also during COVID, we bought one of my dear friends, she had cancer, bikes for kids. Because it was like, what can we do to get these kids having a good time and make sure, like, family togetherness and stuff. So bikes was another one that we did a lot of during COVID. So we've done a lot of things.
All right. So how do we get the drum up the support for people to help you guys grow and to affect more people? What can we do?
I think Chocolate Fest right now is the best. Well, come out and have a cocktail
right.
at Magic Tree.
I'm there.
So do that. But right now, Chocolate Fest is our number one thing. We are about halfway sold out. We have about 350 tickets to sell, and there's a grand raffle that's going with that. It's the Winner's Choice raffle. Tickets are $25. We're only selling 300, and you can choose from $1,000 cash as a prize. There's a Louis Vuitton, which never full purse, which everybody seems to like. A Napoleon grill with a Omaha steak package, or a party for 10 at the bunker. So it's, all those things. You can pick which one of those you want to win. Tickets are $25. They're all online if you go to www.piggybackyyoungstown.com. And Chocolate Fest is coming up. That's our number one fundraiser. So sponsor it, attend it, grab a raffle ticket. That's the best way to come
You
support
guys on
us.
social media?
Yes, Facebook, all that. Piggyback Youngstown is what you want to look up.
Beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for joining